Hi, everyone. We are here to discuss The Great Gatsby or any video that you, or I'm sorry, any book that you have read this month. March was the start of the book exchange. I am Barbie Bauer, if you do not know me, or if you're just watching this on YouTube. We are currently, this is our first month, and the theme for this month was a book that was turned into a movie. I have not yet watched the movie, and since it's the last day of the month, I thought maybe I'd start it on the 1st. So I decided to read The Great Gatsby because I've always wanted to read that book, so it just got me to read it. I am just going to have a discussion about it, not really ask questions, but just talk about questions that I kind of wrote down or just points that I wanted to talk about. Let me see here. So I wanted to talk about, I guess there are some people who haven't read The Great Gatsby, and so so I'm going to be reading it, or not reading it, but talking about it. I read the first, I want to say about 4 chapters, and it was completely slow and annoying, and I went to the library and got the audio version of it and listened to it that way, listened to the rest of the book that way, because first, I'm very busy and I don't feel like I'm ever going to fully read a book unless it's super captivating that I can just read throughout the whole thing. So I got the Kindle version of it to read, and while my husband was driving and I was listening to the audiobook in the car, I would read along on the Kindle. So that helped to have it said and read. There are, it seemed that it went by faster that way. Because it was completely slow, chapters 1 through 5. 6 to 9, I just could not, I loved it. It was so interesting, and the story picked up, and the characters got more involved, and so it made it really hard to stop listening / put it down. I did finish it today, so got it in on time. Also, a side note, please feel free to use the chat box, to use the group chat, because I can, read or answer any questions you may have. If you have questions about the book or just about anything. I will probably get to the meat of the discussion now. I wrote down a few key points, so I'm going to bring those up. But so I've never read it for high school, never read it for anything else. As I said, the characters really came alive for me. Now, the start of this book, it wasn't like it wasn't written in third person. It wasn't written by Gatsby himself. It was written as the narrator of the book was Nick. He was the cousin of Daisy, who was the love interest of Gatsby. And so he was the one who told the whole story. And it was interesting to have him be the narrator instead of reading it third person, because the characters all knew him and were able to give him inside scoop. Now, for those of you who have read it, you'll know that Gatsby was murdered at the end. So having the great in front of it is kind of ironic. It just doesn't seem like, Gatsby dies in a very quick and kind of out of the way. Like, you don't really get that he's dead until you find out that the murderer committed suicide, and at least that's how it came across, so I might be wrong on that, but about the murderer. But I probably ruined the ending to for some people. I just realized that, but you should have read the book for this month. Anyway, let's see. I like how the story opens. It opens with, give me one second. It says, in my younger and more vulnerable years, my father gave me some advice that I've been turning over in my mind ever since. Whenever you feel like criticizing anyone, he told me, just remember that all the people in this world haven't had the advantages that you have had. And I just feel like if Scott Fitzgerald is saying, hey, these characters are all pretty screwed up, but let's not judge them too much because it gets in the way of the story, okay? So I don't really feel like I related to any specific character at all. I just feel like the 1920s were, people had a lot of time on their hands and had a lot of time for affairs. So there's that. I mean, everyone talked about Gatsby being this great person, but they weren't sure about him. Like, they felt like he killed a man at one point, and he's just like this really flawed and confused character that we love but then end up hating and don't know why we're hating him. So he just seems like he's a little fraudulent, like deceiving people, but you don't really know. And then he dies, and then no one wants to go to the funeral. Like, what do you think of that? No one wants to go to your funeral, and poor Nick, the narrator, is trying to find anybody and calling up anybody because he doesn't know if Gatsby has family, to try to see if they will come to his funeral. And I don't know if anybody does. So it's kind of sad at the end because it's supposed to be this great love story. I want to see how they portray it with Leonardo DiCaprio, because as I was hearing / reading the story, I was imagining him as Gatsby, and he looked perfect for the role. So I'm just hoping that the movie actually helps me understand the book a little better. I mean, the book was written a while ago, and you know, the language of that's not the language of now. So I always thought I wanted to live in the 20s because of the jazz era and the roaring 20s and the cool outfits and the long strands of pearls, but everyone seems to be smoking cigarettes and having parties and drinking till they're wasted and running over people's legs by mistake because of how drunk they are, and sitting in libraries all day. So, verdict, I like the book. I like the story. I thought it was very captivating and the characters really developed, but I wouldn't want to be one of them, and I wouldn't want to live in the 20s. And that's pretty much it. So, as I said, if anyone had any questions, probably now would be the time to ask it. If not, then I will just go, or if you liked the book or hated the book or didn't read the book but saw the movie and wanted to make some comments about that, I would love to hear from you. If not, this video would just go up on YouTube, and then you can leave your comments there. April's book um, theme, because we're going by themes, not so much as books, is April's is a book written by a female author. So I'm currently audio listening to Yes Please by Amy Poehler. Now I have not watched anything from Amy Poehler. Haven't seen Parks and Recs, haven't watched SNL skits from her, haven't seen award shows with her, but I'm told the book is really funny, because she's really funny. She's a comedian, so there's that. I'm on chapter 6, I believe, and I think it's pretty funny so far. She can be a little languagey, so I'm hoping that clears up soon. Anyway, thank you for joining me. All but 1/2 viewers that have hopped on here to watch me ramble about things I know nothing about. But I hope that more people join us next month. So thank you for joining me, and I appreciate you sticking through, and have a very good night.